He started going through the internet, and he just couldn't help himself. Trump made the cover of Time magazine, which he usually loves. You know, before he was president, he had fake Time magazine covers hanging on the walls of his golf club, for real. But this one, I guess, conjured up some mixed feelings because of the photo they used. It's upset him so much that at 1:36 a.m. he posted, "Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture made it..."
Donald Trump just had a full-blown meltdown after Jimmy Kimmel dropped an image that completely broke the internet. Chaos erupted, tweets flying, tempers flaring, and social media exploding with reactions. Whatever was in that image hit harder than anyone expected, sparking non-stop laughter and pure internet gold. It's not just a viral moment, it's comedy history in the making. The drama, the memes, the sheer chaos. This is one for the ages, and the internet can't get enough.
Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. So I decided to go back and reread the clause. I'm not saying he's, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
He saw it, one image, and the world seemed to stop. The air froze, birds fell silent, and somewhere, a gold-plated golf cart teetered on the edge of despair. Trump just stared, wide-eyed, as if the pixels had personally mocked every follicle on his head. This wasn't just an image. It was a digital explosion, crafted to fracture egos and fuel chaos. When it hit, it didn't just land. It detonated, leaving behind stunned silence, viral laughter, and the internet ablaze.
Disappeared my hair, and then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Really weird. Now, I want to go back to that cover and show you this crown. Okay, that's not a crown, that's the letter M. Only he would see an M on his head and assume it's a crown. If that's not an M, you're on the cover of Time magazine, okay?
Wait a second. Loving the video? Let's make it official. Smash that subscribe button and stay tuned because the best is yet to come. Now back to the chaos. The image was Kimmel's magnum opus, a flawless blend of Photoshop, memes, and merciless satire. It captured Trump in a scene so hilariously absurd that future historians might crown it the pinnacle of late-night comedy versus fragile egos. Every pixel dripped with mockery, every detail pure perfection. And Trump's reaction? One stunned, world-freezing blink that said everything.
He says he would carry out a deportation operation to remove more than 11 million people from the country. He says he would use the military to build migrant detention camps. He would let red states monitor women's pregnancies and prosecute those who violate abortion bans. He would, at his personal discretion, withhold funds appropriated by Congress. He would fire any U.S. attorney who wouldn't carry out his order to prosecute. He's weighing pardons for everyone who attacked the Capitol January 6th. He said
Kimmel unleashed a masterpiece of pure, beautiful chaos. A lethal fusion of Photoshop brilliance, meme sorcery, and razor-sharp satire. The image placed Trump in a scene so outrageously absurd that future historians might declare it the peak of late night's reign over fragile egos. Every pixel struck with precision, every detail gleamed with mockery. And Trump's reaction? Just one silent, bewildered blink, the kind that said everything without a word, sealing the moment as internet legend and late-night comedy gold.
Honored for wearing that tie down to your knees. Every morning is a game of who am I mad at today? Is it the Cracker Barrel logo? Is it windmills? Is it Bad Bunny? Is it the Nobel Prize? Or is it the turkey vagina slapping around over my chin? I'm not sure we're even allowed to show his neck on TV. Wouldn't it be funny if the FCC fined us for showing his neck on TV?
But let's rewind. Because while Trump's ego combusted in public, a quieter storm brewed across America. Grocery prices kept soaring, rent climbed out of reach, and health insurance costs threatened to double overnight. Meanwhile, Congress remained motionless, locked in partisan paralysis, as everyday Americans bore the weight of a never-ending spectacle. The noise of political theater drowned out real struggles, leaving families stretched thin and exhausted, waiting for leaders too busy performing to actually lead.
He might not come to the aid of an ally in Europe or Asia if he felt that country wasn't paying enough. He would gut the civil service, he would close the White House Pandemic Preparedness Office, and staff his administration only with those who believed the election was stolen from him. And when they asked about dictatorship, he said, "I think a lot of people like it." And he's on the cover of Time magazine. He should be on the cover of...
Republicans, the self-proclaimed champions of the American worker, were conveniently on break, likely sculpting sandcastles with taxpayer dollars or polishing their golden pens. Meanwhile, everyday Americans stared into empty grocery carts, doing the quiet math of survival. Then came the twist. Majel Green, the undisputed queen of MAGA, finally broke her silence. But this wasn't the usual party line sermon. No, Green came swinging with the fury of 1,000 Bernie Sanders speeches, accusing her own party of staging political theater, while single mothers struggled to buy milk and bread. The irony was almost poetic. When a MAGA icon starts preaching fairness and accountability, you know the foundation is cracking. And through it all, Kimmel's image lingered. Silent, smug, untouchable. Like a cat watching a cornered mouse, it didn't move or speak, yet it said everything. It became a mirror held up to the absurdity of power and the fragility of ego, exposing the cracks beneath the gold-plated surface. In one viral instant, it transformed from a late-night joke into cultural commentary, reducing presidential composure to dust. The suggestion of dignity? Gone, vaporized under the blinding glare of collective laughter and disbelief. What began as comedy evolved into something far more potent. A reckoning, a reflection, and perhaps the first tremor of an empire of ego beginning to wobble under its own weight.
So the White House press secretary pushed back. She said the president looked great and presidential alongside our stunning first lady, who was, as usual, dressed perfectly for the occasion. And she's right about Melania. I don't know about stunning, but she definitely looks stunned. Show them together, because this is the happiest I've ever seen these two together. It's like they're on their second honeymoon or something. And then the president either went deep in prayer or deep asleep, I don't know.
Let's talk about the domino effect. While Trump wrestled with his pixelated nemesis, the real world burned quietly beneath the noise. Trade agreements with Canada, Mexico, and Turkey had supposedly lifted retaliatory measures, a win for U.S. commerce, at least on paper. But families still scrambled. Prices kept climbing, groceries cost more each week, and health insurance crept toward terrifying double digits. Republicans stood by, watching as working families, single mothers, and small business owners fought to stay afloat. And then came the farmers. The proud soybean growers and family-run farms once promised prosperity through trade. Now they were buried under broken deals and shrinking profits. Their fields still stretched wide, but hope had withered. The great deal that was meant to save them became little more than a shiny illusion, another promise sold for applause.
Not Trump. In fact, if you Google Trump wearing sunglasses, you get thousands of pictures of him not wearing sunglasses, except the only pictures of him wearing anything even like them are shots of him during the solar eclipse. The glasses he then famously took off so he could stare directly into the sun. Weird though, right? I mean, he golfs a lot. He's outside a lot. I'm wondering why he doesn't wear sunglasses, because it's Biden's thing, or did he wear them once as a kid and his dad said, "You look stupid," like his sons, Eric and Don Jr.? I don't know the answer. It's the only thing I don't know about this person. I think he would look good in sunglasses.
And Trump, still fixated on that image. The world could be collapsing around him, soaring inflation, crushing rent, health insurance premiums rocketing sky high, and he wouldn't flinch. His focus stayed locked on the photo Kimmel aired, as if conquering it might somehow restore control. It was like watching a man wrestle his own reflection while his house burned to the ground. Every sigh, every mutter, every wild gesture screamed, "I'm fine, everything's fine," but nothing was. Suggestions ricocheted off walls of denial, echoing through frustration before vanishing into chaos. And when night fell, the image remained, silent, smug, unstoppable. It didn't move, didn't speak, yet it ruled the room. Hovering like a digital ghost, it whispered the cruelest truth of all. Ego burns faster than any fire it refuses to see.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Where's my Nobel Peace Prize they don't talk about.
Trump wants that Nobel Prize so badly.
They should give me the Nobel Prize. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Israel and Hamas have agreed to phase 1 of the peace plan he forced on them because they're giving out the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow. He grabbed them.
Strange reflections in silverware, shadows on the ceiling. Even the dog's eyes seemed to mock him. Trump tried to eat, to sleep, to scroll past the chaos, but every screen led back to the same torment. Kimmel's image, silent, smug, and unstoppable. The internet had turned it into a living, breathing spectacle. TikTok recreations multiplied by the hour, Instagram reels went viral, and late-night hosts dissected every flinch, squint, and muttered denial. Headlines blared, "Breaking, the president sees image. Mirrors at Mar-a-Lago weep." It was irresistible. Chaos, comedy, and poetic justice colliding in real time. Meanwhile, everyday Americans faced soaring costs, empty shelves, and paralyzed politics. But the circus had stolen the spotlight. In a desperate bid for redemption, Trump unleashed his so-called meme army. The outcome was catastrophic. One meme crowned Kimmel the Potato King. Another encircled him with bewildered golden retrievers. Each attempt backfired spectacularly, fueling more laughter and viral mockery. What was meant as revenge became self-parody, a masterclass in digital defeat. In the end, Kimmel's image stood untouched. A pixelated monument to irony, ego, and the unstoppable power of the internet to turn even the mighty into memes.
Our government is now officially shut down because we don't have funding to pay the federal workers. Trump really is running the country like it's one of his businesses. He said he would. Just to give you some perspective, the government being shut down is even worse than when it's up and running. Republicans would like you to believe that Democrats shut the government down, but the bill they wanted the Democrats to sign would knock out about 15 million Americans from health insurance. If this bill passes, your health insurance premiums could go up 75%, so there was no way the Democrats could vote for it.
It was a cosmic joke, an exquisite collision of irony, ego, and digital humiliation, and not even the president could escape it. By morning, the verdict was clear. The image had won. It shattered egos, rewrote timelines, and became an instant cultural landmark. Memes multiplied, reaction videos flooded feeds, and fan art immortalized the moment in ways no speech or press release ever could. Historians might one day call it the moment comedy conquered reality. Kimmel, no doubt, was somewhere sipping champagne, already plotting the sequel, another image, another meltdown, another sparkling chapter of golden chaos. The lesson was unmistakable. Comedy is far from harmless. It's sharp, relentless, and capable of toppling giants with a single punchline or pixel. Meanwhile, Americans still faced rising costs, stagnant wages, and political paralysis. But for a moment, the nation laughed together, united by sheer absurdity. That one image, born from satire, became something larger. A mirror reflecting the fragility of power and the downfall of unchecked pride. It humbled the mighty, exposed the cracks beneath ego, and left a digital scar the internet will never forget. In the end, it proved that humor isn't just entertainment. It's history, written in laughter and pixels.
77% of Americans want the Epstein files released, but 100% of our American president does not want them released. Trump's treating these Epstein files like the grumpy old neighbor on Halloween. He turns off all the lights and just hopes the trick-or-treaters will assume there's nobody home. He's like, do you people not understand what a wonderful secret means? Today, Caitlin Collins from CNN asked Trump whether he plans to pardon Epstein's right-hand woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, and whereas he's usually, very quick to weigh in bigly on this type of thing, for this one, suddenly even-tempered and even deferential.
The Supreme Court is back in session. Yeah. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I'll look at it.
And for the rest of us, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the spectacle. When ego is this fragile and comedy this precise, the world becomes a stage, the internet a theater, and a single image can bring a president to his knees. As the meltdown stretched into the evening, Trump's attempts at recovery grew increasingly theatrical. First, he demanded advice. "What do we do about this image?" he reportedly asked, though no one dared answer. Every suggestion, even the gentlest, was met with suspicion, as if treason had been proposed. One bold aide suggested scrolling through other news to distract him. Big mistake. Every article somehow circled back to the same tormenting image. Assistants ducked behind furniture, advisors tiptoed like stealthy ninjas, and one intern was reportedly tasked with holding a golden mirror at a precise angle to prevent Trump from glimpsing his reflection, which could have triggered yet more chaos. Security, meanwhile, silently prayed the lawn wouldn't spontaneously combust from sheer psychic tension. By mid-evening, his focus had narrowed entirely to that digital masterpiece. Trade deals, struggling farmers, soaring rent, empty grocery carts, all vanished from his awareness. In that moment, nothing existed outside the image that held him hostage, silent, smug, and devastatingly effective. It was a perfect storm of ego, satire, and digital power. One pixelated creation had done what no policy, speech, or PR campaign ever could. It reduced presidential composure to rubble, leaving the room, the staff, and the internet in stunned, laughing awe.
Refuse to sign this budget agreement is because it will cause millions of Americans to lose their health care. Republicans deny this. They say it won't hurt anyone at all. And if you had any doubt that they were lying before, consider this shocking post from the gentlewoman from Georgia who wrote, "I'm not a fan of Obamacare, but I'm going to go against everyone on this issue because when the tax credits expire this year, my own adult children's insurance premiums for 2026 are going to double, along with all the wonderful families and hardworking people in my district. No, I'm not towing the party line on this or playing loyalty games." And I know this sounds crazy, but
And for the rest of us, sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch the spectacle unfold. When ego is this fragile and comedy this precise, the world becomes a stage, the internet a theater, and a single image can bring a president to his knees. As the meltdown stretched into the evening, Trump's attempts at recovery grew increasingly theatrical. First, he demanded advice. "What do we do about this image?" he reportedly asked, though no one dared respond. Every suggestion, even the mildest, was met with suspicion, as if treason had been proposed. One bold aide suggested scrolling through other news to distract him. Big mistake. Somehow, every article circled back to the same tormenting image. Assistants ducked behind furniture. Advisors tiptoed like stealthy ninjas, and one intern was reportedly tasked with holding a golden mirror at a precise angle to prevent Trump from glimpsing his reflection, which could have sparked further chaos. Security silently prayed the lawn wouldn't spontaneously combust from sheer psychic tension. By mid-evening, his focus had narrowed entirely to the image. Trade deals, struggling farmers, soaring rent, empty grocery carts, all vanished. In that moment, nothing existed outside the digital masterpiece that held him hostage. Silent, smug, and devastatingly effective. One image had reduced presidential composure to rubble, turning a room, a staff, and the internet into stunned witnesses of an ego in full theatrical collapse. Why
does he always sound like the dumbest member of the crime family? You remember in Goodfellas, Frankie, after the airline heist, he immediately bought his wife a fur coat? Frankie is our president now. Vito Corleone. The reason the Democrats refuse to sign this budget agreement is because it will cause millions of Americans to lose their health care. Republicans deny this. They say it won't hurt anyone at all. And if you had any doubt that they were lying before, consider this shocking post from the gentlewoman from Georgia who wrote, "I'm not a fan of Obamacare."
None of it mattered. The photo had become an all-consuming vortex of rage and disbelief. Trump tried to fight back, calling friends, allies, even random strangers, demanding strategies to neutralize an image designed solely to mock him. No one had a playbook for destroying a viral meme. Meanwhile, the internet thrived. Memes evolved at lightning speed. One showed Trump riding a scooter into a tornado labeled reality. Another depicted him wrestling a giant pixelated Kimmel like a WWE showdown, a scoreboard flashing mockingly in the corner. Meanwhile, real-world crises quietly persisted. Family farmers struggled under broken trade promises. Small business owners groaned beneath inflation. And ordinary Americans carried the weight of rising costs, all largely invisible amid the digital chaos. Yet online, absurdity reigned, unstoppable and viral. The next day, Trump attempted a comeback, planning a press conference to reclaim the narrative. But each time he approached a camera, some subtle reference to the viral photo appeared. An animation on a screen, a tweet, a background poster. No matter how carefully he tried, the image lingered, omnipresent, mocking, unstoppable. The perfect late-night punchline to a reality that refused to pause. It wasn't just comedy. It was cultural warfare, pixel by pixel, and Trump was trapped at the center. Nat